What's going on, everybody? floopydonkey here, and XP sliders in your franchise are critical. A lot of people do not even mess with these, but if you want a realistic franchise playthrough, especially if you plan on playing for 5+ years in your franchise, you're really going to want to make sure that these XP sliders are really fine-tuned. Let's get into this. All right, so XP sliders really determine how quickly different players in different positions develop over the course of their career. If you leave these pretty much base at 100, players tend to develop really rapidly and really quickly, and what you'll end up having in a 10+ year league is a ton of people that are 99 overall, that are 90, that have superstar X factors and development traits, and that's just obviously not realistic to the NFL. So what I did was I tried to finely tune all of these sliders so that we would get pretty much what the base Madden gives you, which there's only a few people who are 99 overall, and there should be. There's only a few people who are kind of in that tier right below it, from like a 90 to a 95, or 95 to 99, then 90 to 95, and so on and so forth. I got a spreadsheet. Let's check this out so that you understand exactly what I'm talking about. All right, so here are my XP sliders. You can see here the base roster has 699 overall players, including in those 99 and through 95 overall, there's 26. 94 to 89 overall, we have 70 players, and then 80 to 84, we have 120, which totals up to 222 total players, from a 99 overall down to an 84 overall. I kind of just broke it up in tiers because I feel like that was easier. And this is with the base sliders all at 100%. Now, if you do a base 10-year sim in Madden, this is what you end up getting. You end up getting the same amount of 99 overall players. You get a slight increase in 99 to 95, but then this is where things start to get a little crazy, is that from 94 to 89, you have a 23 increase. And then right here, you have a 90-person increase from 88 to 84. So you think about your favorite team, you're playing Madden, the people who are in that area, 88 to 84, and that is increased by what, 30%, if I'm reading that right? Or no, I lied. That's almost 100%. That is a lot of players that develop when realistically that wouldn't happen. So I went through here and I was like, these are the changes that I need to do. I went through each position and looked at exactly how many players were in that tier for that position. And I was like, okay, I might need to decrease this, increase this, so on and so forth. So I decreased the quarterbacks. I slightly decreased tight ends after this. I increased fullbacks. Fullbacks can't develop at all. I slightly decreased centers. It seemed like linemen are doing pretty good. And then I slightly increased pretty much all of the DBs in the on the defense, and then kickers and punters are very similar to fullbacks in that they don't develop really quickly. I mean, some of the best kickers and punters in NFL currently are only like 83, 85, 87, somewhere around those. So when I increase this, you see that I had a significant drop in 99s, and you can read these. So I had a really drop in the top, and then it still was still a little too high in that bottom tier. So I slightly increased some of these so that we would get that top echelon of players back up. And this is what we ended up getting. An adjustment of number 2 through the 10-year sim. I ended up getting 6 players in 99 overall, which is pretty close to what we had before. And you see I left this here so we kind of have an idea. We had 25, which was 1 less. Then we had 77, which was only 7 more. And then we had 168, which was 48 more, but it was still better than obviously 90 more if you use the base stats. So currently with that, I slightly increased all these and changed it. This is what we're working with here. So quarterback at 85%. Let me increase this a little bit for you so that you can see exactly what we're talking about here. So I have quarterbacks at 85% of the sliders. Running backs 101. I feel like running backs needed just a slight tweak. For far as quarterbacks go, there were too many quarterbacks that were 99 overall or really in that higher tier. Tight ends, we decreased that a little bit. With the tight ends, you're going to get 1 or 2 players that are really good, like your Travis Kelce's or George Kittle's or Darren Waller's, and then you'll have a big drop off to about guys that are like 88, 85, 86, 87. And to me, that's very realistic to what the NFL is. Wide receivers needed to get some love. Wide receivers weren't developing a whole lot with the base sets. There were really hardly any guys that were over 95. Fullbacks, we bumped that to 145. I still think I need to increase fullbacks quite a bit, but again, fullbacks seem to be sitting around at the highest around at 80, which is kind of kind of what we see in the NFL. I mean, fullbacks really aren't even used for a lot of teams currently. Tackles, guards, we left exactly the same. I thought those were pretty spot on. You don't have any 99 guys in that club, even though I think there probably should be, like David Bakhtiari for Green Bay, I think is maybe a 99 overall lineman, especially at the tackle position. But one of the things that you notice in the NFL and trends is that it's really hard to find good offensive linemen. So I felt like they did a really good job of doing that, actually. Centers we decreased. I thought centers were a little too high. There aren't a lot of good, like great centers in the league. There are a lot of good centers. So I wanted to decrease that to represent that. Defensive ends, defensive tackles, and middle linebackers all look good. I don't think they were overdeveloped or developed too quickly in that regards. As far as corners, safeties, I think those needed to be moved up quite a little bit, especially full safeties. That didn't seem like they developed hardly at all, but we moved up to 110, and we were able to get some safeties that were around like a 91, 92, 93. And there were a few outliers whenever I ran this sim 4 or 5 times. That was like a 96, 97, very few outliers. So I kind of like that because, I mean, when's the last time we've seen a really dominant safety in the league that was a 99? You know, we had Cam Chancellor a few years ago. You had Ed Reed, but you really haven't seen someone that's really dominant at that safety position in quite some time that was kind of king of that defense, right? And then kickers and punters, obviously they need to develop a lot more. So these are very important, and people always ask me what exactly determines how a player develops. So let's look at that right quick so that you understand how players develop and why they develop quicker or slower than other people. All right, guys, so here we are looking at a player on the Panthers, Christian McCaffrey, 99 overall currently in my franchise. You see a few things here. First off, you see his overall rating. Underneath that is a little slider that shows 11,994 XP. That's how much XP is taken for him to get another development point. The more or higher overall they are, the more that slider moves up and the more XP they have to gain. That's one thing that attributes to the success or development of a player, is how much XP it takes for them to develop. The second thing is their age. Christian McCaffrey's 25 years old. It seems like after 28, 29, Madden starts to really, or you see players in Madden start to degrade. They maybe lose some speed, lose some stamina. They might lose some of their important skills position traits, and they will slowly start to whittle away. You'll actually see some players, especially if they don't have like a star factor or an X factor or a superstar trait, they'll actually go from like maybe like an 80 overall down to like a 60 in a matter of 2 years because they kind of fell off that cliff. So age is also an important factor. And then the last thing is their development trait. So whether a superstar X factor, a superstar, or just a regular star trait, that determines how much XP they get. The last thing is if you focus that player in your development during your franchise. If that player is a scheme fit, and you focus him, you're going to get more XP than if they weren't a scheme fit and you didn't focus them. So there's actually 5 things that you have to worry about. It's their overall and how much XP it takes for them to get a skill point. Their age is a factor, their development trait, if you focus them or not whenever you do your weekly training, and then scheme fit. All those attribute to how much XP they get. So it's very important to understand that and make sure you try to maximize that as much as possible. Guys, let me know what you think of these sliders. I think they work really great. I'll constantly be fine-tuning these. So guys, make sure that you stay up to date so that you're aware of when I post new videos. Smash that like button for me, and I will catch everybody later. Floopy Donkey out.